Whoa, oh my God. Let's see. Wow, it's gonna be really loud here because there's a lot of cars driving by. But anyways, hi, I'm Mary Sola, or Blitzen, whatever you want to call me. Welcome back to my channel. And today we're gonna do a little tutorial for my series Blitz quick tutorials, which I haven't filmed for in a while, but I know it used to be weekly, but now it's arbitrary, which I think is even more exciting because you never know when you're gonna get a video. So today we're gonna talk about use of space with just use of space in general in your light show and how you guys can use space a little bit better. And one more exciting announcement is that I love when, by the way, this is just like a completely random moment, but I just love when people are walking down the sidewalk right now and I'm just making eye contact with this woman as she walks by. Hi there. And they just stare at me talking to myself in my car. Super fun. Anyways, use of space, that's what we're going to talk about, and how you guys can use space better in your light shows, making your light shows more fluid and more dynamic as well for the viewer. Another exciting announcement is I am now on TikTok. Yes, I'm now on TikTok. I'm posting a lot of my gloving videos as well as other fun content. I'm trying to post there like 2 or 3 times a day. So right now I'm putting like all my energy into that app. So if you guys want to follow me, it is at Mary_Sola_, the same as my Instagram. So if you want to follow me on TikTok, that'd be cool. And yeah, let's get this going. More people walking by. Sorry, but it's always entertaining. Okay, so today we're going to talk about use of space and how you guys can use space more efficiently in your light shows to give a more dynamic light show. So again, I usually don't like talking about things that are so broad in these tutorials. So what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to take one move and we're going to talk about it in the context of doing the move in different spaces. Okay. So, or I guess concept, it's not really going to be a specific move, but let's take forward whips, for example. There's plenty of tutorials on forward whips, so I'm not going to go into how to teach that. If you want, I can link a couple below so you guys can check those out. Let's say even if you want to do, or tunnel, whatever it is that you want to do. Okay, so there's different spaces that you can do this in. And again, this is how I teach it. This is what my thoughts are on it. Someone else might have a completely different thought, but anyways, so if you're doing this directly in front of the viewer's face, right, you don't want to be doing really big movements. Okay, the problem with doing really big movements and big circles, if you're so close in the person's face, is they can't see all of the light trails. Okay, so it's hard for them to really see what's going on. So big, really big movements, like big whips that will turn into flails, are going to be a lot better when you're doing them further away from the viewer. Now, if there's a specific space that the person that you're giving a light show to that they're focusing on, and when I say space, I mean maybe when you're doing those forward whips, your thumbs are pointed out like this. So maybe they're going to be focused on that point in the center. So when you're rotating your hands, right, it's creating this circle around, but they're focused on the 2 points in the center. Now that could work doing that in a closer space versus far away, right? Because if we're doing that far away, they're going to be focusing on the whole movement altogether, not just where your thumbs are. So those types of things, right, you're only going to accentuate your movements more if you do them in the appropriate space, right? So bigger movements should be further away. Smaller movements, things such as small tutting concepts or even like dials, stuff like that, should be done closer to the person's face because that way they can see it. When you're doing that 5 feet away from the other person, they can't. I mean, that's kind of an exaggeration, but when you're doing it like 2 feet away from the other person, it's really hard for them to see and appreciate those movements, right? So you want to get close. You want to get in there, okay? Now, let's say if you're doing, if you're trying to go from space to space, or you're using multiple spaces at once, right? Totally can do that. And that's a good way to move the viewer's perception from one space to another, right? So now let's say we're taking the same tunnel motion, okay? And let's say I want to give them 2 different spaces to go to, okay? So I'm going to do that same thing, but what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to pull one hand back, right? And keep one hand forward. Now there's two different things going on, okay? So again, they're gonna be most likely focusing on whatever's doing the movement. So if something is stopped, right, and something else is moving, obviously you guys are gonna be looking at the thing that's moving, probably not this. Now, something really cool you could do is alternate the movements between the different spaces. So maybe from one hand, you want to have one hand doing a flail and the other hand slowly kind of doing a, you know, twisting with it. Now you're using that, right, that perception of space to move the hand without actually having to touch the hand or have them on the same plane of the same depth perception. So, or you could also, like, just like I said, right, if you're doing them at the same time, or what I meant is if you alternate them, right, maybe one stops, the other moves, right, and then you could kind of, you know, what, you could alternate them however you want. The possibilities are endless, but you know, just be aware, like, and one great way to think about this is, what if you were receiving the light show? Like, that's the way that I always like to think of things. If I'm sitting in front of someone and someone is giving me this light show, right, and I'm doing all these, you know, these tuts and stuff like that, I'm going to want to be able to see those shapes, right? So I'm not going to want to do that movement super close in their face, because the person's not going to be able to see what the hell I'm doing. You know what I mean? So best way to practice this is in the mirror. Right, in the mirror, and that way you'll be able to see what looks good, what doesn't, and see what catches your eye in those specific movements, right? A lot of people always ask me, like, the biggest question that I always get is how close, or not biggest question, but a big question that I always get is, how close do I get to a person's face while I'm giving a light show? What is too close? Okay, so too close would obviously be hitting the person. We don't want to be hitting anyone. I gotta say it just in case. Now you can get as close as like a couple inches from the person's eyes, okay? One thing to note with that, right, is if you have something, right, if you guys notice right now, I'll just do this as an example with the camera. If I put my thumbs all the way like this in front of the camera, you can't see anything else that's going around, right, going on around me. So you can use that to your advantage, right? If maybe you want to go from showing something here and then you want to open up into something bigger, it's like, wow, you're going to take that person's depth perception, right, from being really close to something really big. So maybe the movements need to transition into something a little bit bigger. Okay, so that is my tutorial for the day. I've talked about this a couple of times. Again, I know I don't usually like talking about really general things like this because people just go, okay, well, what do I do? You know what I mean? But try this with a concept that you guys already know. If you want to go back, you can go back and go through any of the tutorials that I've taught, take one of those moves and try them at different depth perceptions, right? I would say the 3 different places you can start is obviously right in front of the viewer. The next one is directly in front of you, right? And then the third would be almost behind you, not meaning that your hands are behind you, but where you're almost in line with yourself, right? So tutting and stuff like that, I would say that that is in a depth perception that's in line with your body, right? Versus in front of you versus directly in front. I think going with those 3 different spaces and depth perceptions, right, is a good way to go. I don't like talking about up or down too much, because like when someone gloves above my head, I don't want to have to like look up to see the light show, you know what I mean? So yeah, so take one of those old videos from before, try them out, see how you guys can kind of mess with it, make them their own, you know, or make them your own by using different spaces around you, and see what type of unique stuff you guys can come up with. Again, thanks so much for watching. Make sure you guys like, comment, subscribe, share this with all your Glover friends. These are the best tutorials on the internet. I'm biased, but no, they're just quick and short, and I've been doing this for a really long time, so I'm really happy that I can pass along my knowledge to all of you guys, and hopefully you guys are enjoying it. If there's any specific type of content that you want to see from me, let me know. I'm going to be putting a lot more energy into my YouTube, my TikTok, all these other, you know, exciting things that I have going on. If you guys follow me on Instagram, you've noticed that I've deleted a lot of my content from Instagram. Now, I have that content. It's going to be dispersed among different platforms. I don't want my Instagram to be the sole place for where you watch videos. It's just not, Instagram has just evolved into a platform that is just not the best place for me to post the type of content that I want to post, which is good news for all of you guys that follow me on YouTube and stuff like that, because you'll be getting a lot of that content reposted on YouTube. But if you want to see a lot of my short films and stuff like that, I really, really would encourage you guys to go follow my TikTok. that's going to be the place where I'm going to be reposting everything. And you guys will be seeing a lot of new videos, or not a lot of new videos, but a lot of recycled videos, like old videos that you haven't seen in years that I've, you know, taken down, and would hopefully be a nice surprise. So on that note, thank you so much for watching Blitz Quick Tutorials. I hope you guys enjoyed this episode, and I'll see you guys next time, whenever that shall be. Peace.